Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Between Two Teachers, where we bring you a lot of information and news of what's happening in the world of education, nationally and statewide, and of course, locally. So today's Friday, October the 28th, and my name is Consuelo Lara.
My name is Madeline Cronenberg, and as always, I will bring you the land acknowledgement. We pause to acknowledge that we have gathered today on the ancestral land of Huichin, part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo and Karkan-speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and all Ohlone people of the past and present. And we ask that you support the Muwekma effort to get justice and to be considered as a federal tribe, that you follow that and Google it, that they have unfairly been excluded from the benefits of being a federally acknowledged tribe, and as well as other tribes. So it's an issue that we can all work on to try to support them. And other things, the other big thing that we talk about every week is the importance of having curriculum that centers the story of California on the Native population. And that curriculum is on the East Bay Regional Parks District website. So you just have to go there and do a search for it, or look on our linked page and you can find it there too. So there's a lot to be grateful for to our natives and to the Native Americans, and we don't want you to forget them. We'd also like you to, if you're on YouTube, to become our next follower, subscriber. So don't forget to like and share and subscribe to Between Two Teachers. Today, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna start with a local situation. So here in our own district in West Contra Costa, our labor community and the school district are at odds, and they have not come to an agreement around how we're going to around their contract. So there's a normal contract dispute which happens all the time, frequently, because you have to divide up the money. And right now they're reaching a call to action. They've already had one action. They've had rallies, and within the next couple of weeks, we're going to see. Hopefully, it'll get resolved. Hopefully, they will be able to offer something that the labor partners are going to be able to accept. Otherwise, as we come back week after week, we're going to be telling you more about even more difficult labor situations. And
the thing that gets, oh, I'm sorry. The thing that gets me is that the school district is really acting as if things are normal. This seems like, same old thing. And it's so different. Since the pandemic, there's a severe shortage. So you want to pay people, there's money that's coming down. You can't say, oh, we don't have the money. Oh, this is a very different situation. And they're not showing that. The districts are not.
No.
So anyway,
that's it's very difficult. And I'll just tell you, I've been in this district for a long time. The district I taught in, we went on strike 4 times. So I remember what that's like, right? And what it feels like, and the whole experience of doing it, and the experience later of retiring and having less money because you went on strike, which is another thing about going on strike. But yeah. I also know that once you've done it, you can't, once you go, you can't unring the bell, and it does completely change the culture of your organization. So if that does happen, and it could, because they're very close to being on the brink of it, it would be a disaster.
Yeah.
It would be a disaster. So they need to really think about this.
Yeah.
They need to really think about this. So normally I wouldn't bring this up, except there's been public actions, and this is all public information.
Yep.
There's nothing here that we're talking about that's not public. Next, with the culture wars, which are so prevalent in our culture and spreading, if anything. I just wanted to once again point out something around media literacy. Now, throughout the country, different states are one by one adding media literacy as a requirement. And that is, I mean, when you really think about where we are today in 2022, what you have, where we get our information from is where we're talking to you now. It's on the screen, right? We get it in some, it's so different from the strategies that were offered before we became an online world. So we need to teach that. It's really needs to be a requirement. For California, would be an A through G requirement to say we're going to teach our students how to understand and navigate the world of people who are trying to play them, right?
And I don't think that us adults and education in general have really grasped how powerful and influential it is, the social media is on our young people. I mean, it's sometimes their world,
Right.
you know? So it's powerful. We have to understand it, you know?
So it's their truth, right? And so what we have to do is speak to them and let them navigate that truth so that they know when they're being manipulated. That's the key thing. So all of these different courses, state by state, people are coming up with ways to teach media literacy so people can, so that students are able, and I certainly don't want to dismiss the many wonderful teachers who I know have done it for years. I know they have, and that's that it's not being invented now. But what's happening now, it's being institutionalized. That's the next step, right? Because we've reached the point where state by state, it can be mandated. And that curriculum that these brilliant, teachers who were in the vanguard of teaching it, who created their own curriculum and did brilliant things, that kind of curriculum can be shared out and everyone can have access to it and to teach it. Yeah. So there's a group called Media Literacy Now. They have a curriculum, right, that does exactly that, that shows students how to use critical thinking to analyze information that they have in front of them and to determine whether it's true or false. And now we're not talking about political theories. Those are another story, right? But just knowing whether or not you're being told the truth or you're not, or you're being scammed, or, And there's another one called Newslit Nation, which also has a news literacy project so that you understand. And these are just two that I know of. I'm sure there are many more. I'm going to keep talking about this. This is one of these issues that's not going away. And if anything, it's becoming, it's growing. And we can look to after the election, the next election that's coming up in a couple of weeks, for it to probably just continue and grow even more. I mean, this morning, Twitter, right? The social, our social town hall was purchased by the richest man in the world.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a good idea. Who knows? I mean, many people were fired. Who knows what he's going to do? We'll see. The next one, I just wanted to once again say yes on 28. Today is the 28th. Yeah. We support yes on 28 to support arts and music in California. It doesn't have any public opposition, except that people who don't, and it's not going to raise taxes. It's a carve out from the money they already have. So the taxpayers didn't even come out against them.
Okay.
But we have to pass it. We have to go and vote and pass it. Okay. Yes on 28. Now for you. Tell us what's.
Yeah. Well, there's locally. Yeah. One of the things I did visit one of my favorite little schools, Manzanita. It's just a great little humble school, and I just enjoy going there. It's a charter school, middle school in Richmond, and I never tire of saying this, but it is a school that is run by the board of directors is all parents who are elected by parents. Where do you see that?
The different models. This is the thing people don't realize about charter schools. There are different models. The alternative model to the parent-led model is one that has a charter management organization that takes a percentage of the money that's dedicated to students and uses it to support the administration at the charter management organization.
Yep.
That's not true at Manzanita.
Yeah, there's no CMO at this one. So yeah, they could truly call themselves a public charter school. And
Right.
yeah, that's just great. I just love going there. I have to say, I went to the Board of Supervisors. I didn't go to, yeah, I did. And I was able to see most of it and also saw the replay, but they passed the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice.
Yeah.
And this is big. This is really big news. There was a lot of pushback on the dais, but they did pass it unanimously. And I'm hoping that we see big changes in a lot of things, especially institutionalized practices that have been very discriminatory. And also we at the County Office of Education need to also look at our institutions and how are they biased, and look at our diversity, equity, and inclusion at our county offices. So I'm just thrilled that this has happened, and well, a shout out to them for.
Yeah, no, big shout out to everybody who was there, because there was a lot. It was a difficult meeting for many people. So even difficult to watch, because it brought up some of the language that was in the report that was written by community members, right? And the result of surveys of many community members in Contra Costa County. And the community members concluded and stated in the report that they believed that Contra Costa County has within it entrenched white supremacy. It's a county that has developed a culture of entrenched white supremacy. This is the lived experience of the people writing the report. And it was difficult to accept for some of the board members, the county board of supervisors, the supervisors. So there was a whole conversation around that. And the members who found it difficult to accept were white women, the 3 white women who were on the board of supervisors who were trying, I think, first of all, didn't recognize that this report, as the author of the report, the chair of the committee said, is the story, the lived experience of the people who generated the report. So you can't deny that language. And what the report is their lived experience. And you can't deny it anyway. And honestly, you're speaking from an incredible position of privilege to suddenly to come back and say that you don't accept the language of there being entrenched white supremacy in Contra Costa County, when many people are telling you they've experienced it, and your privilege has protected you from it, which is the definition of white fragility, right? You haven't experienced it. And that really came very clear in that meeting. But at the end, the good news was that they did accept it. And what I hope was, within the list of things that they talked about in the committee, was which formed an office that's going to deal with issues around racial equity and social justice. One of the things is education, specifically called out. So it would seem to me that since this is a county office, that the County Office of Education has an opportunity to work with them to see what it is exactly the commissioner, that the commission wants to do. And maybe with the education part, they need to report to the County Board of Education.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's got to be a partnership there and collaboration.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And so up until now, I don't know that anyone has reached out to the County Board of Education. But anyway, we need to just keep on that and make sure that there is that collaboration and that it's public. That
Yeah.
was another part of this, is that there's a desire to, we'll just keep it internal and report internally to the county administrative officer. But that doesn't become public. The public, which is the whole issue here. One of the things about transparency, it is more work for some people. I agree, but at the same time, people see you doing the work and they can see how you're doing the work, which is very much what this is about.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was very pleased with it. And the conversation was just, I mean, it was almost symbolic. I mean, this is the issue. This is the problem. Like somebody said, if you want to know the definition, you just had it right here.
You just had it. You just saw what it looks like in that conversation that our supervisors had.
Oh,
It really was true. It really was true. So I'll link to that. I actually did post the link to that originally. And once they haven't put up the video yet. But when they do, I'll put that up on Between Two Teachers on the Facebook page so people can find it. And then I can link to it on our website too.
Yeah.
Because it's worth your time if you're at all interested in process and seeing how they managed to get there.
Yeah.
Because it was a political process as well in the end.
So we'll follow it, especially the education arm of that, and we'll report back to everybody. Great. The other thing, another thing that Madeline and I are involved with is the Concilio Latino, which is a networking group of service providers meets monthly and shares information. And one of our topics for this month was homelessness. And we had speakers come and talk about it with some good practices. But so somebody asked for a part 2. So we're gonna get somebody from education, the department, Board of Supervisors, the county, to come and talk about that department and about what they do with homelessness. And then also from the Office of Education, we have a whole education for homelessness, children and youth. So a speaker is going to come from there. So this will be for next month, for November. And
at the Concilio.
At the Concilio, not here.
No. But we'll link to it. We will link to it. So you can, if you follow us, you'll see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm just really glad that, one of the things that we want to talk about all these silos and try to bring people to talk to each other for sure. So that was one. And also at the county office, what I'm hearing is that in terms of CTE, there's consensus that teacher education is necessary as one of our CTE pathways. So I was just tickled to find out that was the case. So, and we've been talking about it for a long time.
We've been talking about it for a very long time because it's been true for a very long time. So the great news is there is energy that's being used right now to help develop it. And, it's not like people didn't see the retirements and maybe they didn't see the pandemic coming and then realize that was going to even escalate the number of retirements. But certainly we knew that this was going to happen. And there are so many examples. There are many different ways to do this. The schools I know that there are residency programs for special ed teachers that has been started at West Contra Costa. I know throughout Contra Costa County, there are different sites that are beginning to look at how they're going to do an education pathway, right? And actually the REACH, remember we talked to someone about them. Yeah, that's another really important thing to bring up and not leave out in the silo. And there are many different paths there. Right. And one of the most important ones is the one that elevates folks who are already in the classroom as aides. to support them in becoming teachers, right? They are people who have had the lived experience, and if they're interested in continuing and becoming teachers, there are opportunities for them and for other folks who would like to be an aid on the way to becoming a teacher, which allows you to be paid, right? And also to gain the experience. So there are programs for that. There are many programs. We're going to talk about all of them here.
We're going to be talking about that quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Continue, because we have
I mean, continue.
Yes.
Continue to talk about it, because a lot is happening throughout the county. So let's find the best practices of what we're doing so far and
Exactly.
encourage it along for sure. So, and then the other thing that I do is mentoring the Richmond High School. We have a group called the Latina Circle, and we bring in role models for them to see that, you know, the things you can do. I talk about CTE. It's almost always around CTE, because these are, you know, they not necessarily choosing to go to a 4-year, but want to work right out of high school and get a job, good job. So this time was law enforcement, and expected 2 officers, and we had 4 Latina officers. So I need to give, and they were very impressive. And, you know, they had been in the military, they had been athletes. I mean, it was very powerful. And the girls asked a lot of questions. It was a bigger, well-attended. And so I do want to give a shout out to these officers. From San Pablo Police Department was Alyssa Alvarado. And then the others were from Richmond Police Department, Lana Woody, Monica Martinez, and Michelle Siqueira. And
Great.
it was great. So shout out to them for participating in that. And actually shout out to Genoveva Calloway, because she booked them. I didn't.
Good for her.
She's the one that has all the connections in the city and in the
That's it.
community.
That's it. But
So
they're role models, right? So you know, then we need some Latina teachers.
yes, absolutely.
That's another group to bring in, right? And see who's in these programs. But my shout out before we go is to Contra Costa College, to support them and celebrate the fact that they are an aerospace scholars campus, the only one in Northern California, and they're connected to NASA. So if you want a job in NASA, the pathway in Northern California is through Contra Costa College.
Oh,
Big success for them. So that's it for us. We've had a good visit with you this week, and we look forward to seeing you again on Between Two Teachers. And remember to vote yes on 28. Bye-bye.
hi, everybody.